Clint Adams was goat hunting on Alaska's Baranof Island last month when a brown bear attacked his party of 4. He was hiking with his girlfriend Melody and their guide. As they were being guided up a steep, tufted ridge, Adams suddenly heard him shout 3 words that no one in bear country wanted to hear. "Oh, F! Run!" By the time Adams realized what was happening, his guide had grabbed his .375 H&H bolt-action rifle from his shoulder and had already passed by him. Adams' own rifle was strapped to his backpack, and the only weapon he had on hand was the ice pick he used to climb the mountain. What's up, guys? Iceman here. So this story is called Ice Pick Bear, and the image in the thumbnail is the actual ice pick and young woman who were involved in this scene. Before I get into it, I'd like to thank you guys for all your support on this channel. And if you will, like this video and subscribe to the page. And don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified next time I post a video. And if you want to support me further, you can become a channel member or a patron. Links in the description below. So let's get into this ice pick of a story. A large brown boar chased the guide, and when it passed within range of Adams, he picked up his ice pick and struck it with both hands, digging the pointed end into the bear's skull, just behind its ear. The bear's eyes were still on the guide, and he continued to pursue. I had the ice pick in hand, and I quickly realized that there was only time for one swing, and when I stuck it in him, he passed right by me, probably only a foot away from my body. And when I stabbed the pick in him, I shook it, and I could feel that it sunk completely down all the way to the handle, and it wasn't coming out. Adams then watched as the bear grabbed the leader from behind, and the two rolled onto a flat surface below. The handler lay on his back, trying to access his rifle, while the 8-foot-tall boar stood up on its hind legs. Adams saw that the axe was still in the bear's head. In retrospect, Adams knew it was a risky proposition to take his girlfriend on the hunt, as she had never hunted before and had spent several days in southeast Alaska. Goat hunting is far from beginner territory. This was her first hunting trip. Both of our families were like, "Hey, do you really want to go that far?" And I was worried as well, explains Adams, who had hunted in Alaska before and had never encountered a bear. But he knew it was dangerous. In the afternoon, when the group boarded a boat across the bay from Sitka, he was more concerned about the strenuous hike than the bears. After reaching a large lake, they loaded their gear onto an inflatable raft and ventured across it. They started climbing the mountain that evening, and they made it about 1.5 miles before camping in the rain. The next morning was sunny, and they continued their adventure early. The 3 headed up a ridge to a good glass spot and used ice axes to drive them into the ground and pull them upward while hiking. They were just starting to get their rhythm, and only about 400 meters from the camp, the guide uttered the 3 terrible words. And after he said, "Run," I heard the bear's low, bone-hard roar. Then the guide turned and walked past me, and I looked up and saw the bear coming out of the brush. I could see it, says Adams, who is 6'6" tall and weighs 285 pounds. Seeing the bear lunge, Adams stretched his body and leaned over his left shoulder to prepare for the impact. But then I saw that the bear's eyes were on the guide. Realizing he was not the target, he drove his axe into the bear's skull, and the bear continued chasing the guide, and he saw them rolling down the hill. The bear crushed the guide by slamming into his backpack while he was on the ground. And when the bear turned around, I saw the ice axe still hanging from his head, Adams says. Adams says he distinctly remembers the muzzle blast that ruffled the bear's fur. The bullet startled the bear, who backed away and hesitated. At this point, the guide pulled out his .357 revolver that was strapped to his chest and fired 3 shots through the bushes and into the bear. The boar attacked the guide again, who leveled his rifle and fired once more. The guide then fired 2 more shots from his pistol. Adams says he still doesn't know if the bullets hit the bear, but everyone kept screaming, and eventually the bear fled. At this point, Adams didn't know if the bear was dead. However, he got back his ice pick. After the second shot, the bear turned away and looked at me from about 100 feet, Adam says. There was 1 or 2 bluffs, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, and when it turned and ran, the ice pick fell off its head. The guide did the best he could under the circumstances. The bear charged 3 times, and no one was scratched. In this particular situation, the bear would have taken the initiative before doing anything, the guide said. Adams claimed that the whole experience opened his eyes to how gunshots alone can help stop a charging bear. He said the bear spray didn't help because they were in a confined space in dense undergrowth. Adams said that it might sound silly, but he feels that it would have worked better to deter the charging bear with a foghorn than with bear spray. He said that when he saw the rifle go off, it was not only the sound that seemed to scare the bear, but it was also the bang itself and flash from the rifle and the impact from the sound that everyone could feel that seemed to deter it. It was just amazing how the bear reacted when it got hit with the muzzle blast, Adams said. According to Adams, an optimal round to carry if you're going out into grizzly territory would be a 10mm, specifically a Glock with a 19-round magazine, and, in his own words, make as many bangs as you can. After the run-in with the bear, the group managed to decompress and catch their breath, and then they decided to glass for a little longer. But not long after they began glassing, they saw another bear, and an even larger one at that, higher up on the mountain, which they ended up taking as a sign to go back to camp. They made it back to the lake and boated across it all the way back to Sitka, where they ended up spending that night. His girlfriend was still understandably shaken up from the incident, so the next day, it ended up being only Adams and the guide who set off to finish off the hunt. They shared a tent the following night, and Adams saw the guide sit up and began to scream. It scared the hell out of him, but apparently it was just a nightmare that the guide was having. Adam asked him what was wrong, and he was terrified once again. The guide looked at him and said, "It was just a nightmare. I was getting chased by a bear." Jeez. What do you guys think about that incident? It's crazy how they were just chilling. They were just hiking up a mountain or whatever, and all of a sudden this bear bursts out of the woodwork and just goes right for the kill. Like, I wonder what the hell that was all about. And it's interesting how there were 3 people. Now, I'm not sure how far apart they were, but I know that bears are less likely to attack you if you're in a group. But it's crazy how this bear just didn't care. And he ran right past the guy who stabbed him with a pickaxe and continued to pursue his target. But fortunately, it seems that everyone was okay. And who knows what actually happened to the bear. But I think that this Adams guy makes a good point. I personally have a Glock 17, so it holds a lot of rounds, but it's only 9mm. And I feel like I've been reading a lot and hearing a lot about these 10mm that are a lot more optimal for bear. So I might have to go and pick myself up one of those. But what is your opinion on that? Do you think you'd have the courage to stab a frickin' bear if it was chasing one of your friends? Like, you'd think it might attack you if you were to do such a thing. But it seems like from this story, Adams didn't really realize who the bear was going for. It was just blasting right at him, so he hurled his pickaxe at it. But nonetheless, let me know your thoughts on these matters in the comments below, and like this video if you guys will. Subscribe to the page, and stay tuned for more chilling tales from the Iceman.